Howdy folks, Kate here, and on this week's video what we're going to do is talk about a sales audit. To this day, the most read blog on the Primitive blog is a blog post we wrote on really doing a sales audit within your own organization. And so I wanted to share on a high level a little bit about that, and then we're also going to link to the blog post itself in case this subject really interests you and you want to dig into it further. But hopefully at this point in the year, you're coming up on the end of the year, hopefully at this point you've already evaluated your digital marketing, you've already thought through your digital marketing budget, and you've really started to think through next year's goals and objectives as an organization. And if you've done that, then I think a very natural thing to do in conjunction with that is to really think through your sales team and your sales process and all the things that go into that. And so here are a handful of things that I would have you consider. Number one is your roadmap. So what is the process, the sales process that someone goes through in your organization the moment they're interested in your product or your service, right? And it's not that it has to be super formulaic so that every single person goes through the exact same process every single time. The point of a roadmap isn't to be rigid, but it is to be able to say, generally speaking, in our organization from start to finish, here's what our process looks like. Here's when we make first contact with them or with our lead. Here's what we do when we make that first contact. We send an email here, or whatever the case may be for your organization. But it's really a blueprint. It's really a roadmap that you have documented that says from the moment we come into contact with a potential prospect to the moment they say yes to our service or yes to our product or no to our service or product, here's what our activity within our sales pipeline is going to look like. And having that documented is valuable for a number of reasons. First of all, just like goals, when you write them down, you're more likely to accomplish them. Same thing with the sales roadmap. If you have it written down and it's an adopted process as an organization, it's more likely that your team or you, if you're selling for your organization, is going to follow the process. The other thing it does is it gives insight to the rest of the team who may not be selling. It gives insight to the rest of the team in terms of what your organization's sales process is, and I think that's important. The second thing I would encourage you to do is to really evaluate your existing content and resources as it relates to sales. What kind of blog posts or content offers or ebooks or infographics or video series or any other type of content or resource related to your service or product, what do you have available that you can utilize when someone connects with your organization and is considering purchasing or buying what it is that you have to offer? What kind of educational content or engaging content can you give to them via email or over the phone or as you interact with them through the sales journey? What kind of content do you have? I think most organizations would be really surprised at how little rich, meaningful, engaging content they have for their sales prospects if you were to really evaluate it. The third thing I'd encourage you to do is really think through and determine the quality of your existing leads. What do you currently have as it relates to your pipeline? Is your pipeline empty? Is it full? If it's full, is it full of the right type of sales prospects? And if you don't feel like it's full of the right type of sales prospects, why do you feel that way? What characteristics or what things about the prospects that you have right now are either the right fit or the wrong fit as it relates to your organization? And really thinking through that and really determining what your existing pipeline looks like and feels like as it relates to your business is a really critical step. The next thing I'd have you consider is really assessing your current reporting. I think reporting is one of those things that you always want to be evaluating. You always kind of want to have a pulse on it at all times, because if your reporting is disjointed, if it's incomplete, if you don't pay attention to it and update it on a regular basis, it's really hard to make informed decisions. And your sales activity is no different, right? And so what you really want to evaluate from a sales reporting standpoint, I think is really simple, and it varies for every organization, but you want some kind of metric where if you're evaluating the progress of your sales or the success or failure of your sales activity, you really want something that's dependable, that's accurate, and yet simple, that really paints a picture as to where your organization is as it relates to sales. And then lastly, I would evaluate what I call your sales synergy. Is your sales team, whether it's an individual or a group of people, are they operating in a silo? Are they operating separate from the executive team? Are they operating separate from the marketing team? Are they operating separate from the operations team? I think it's really dangerous, no matter what kind of industry you're in, for your sales individuals or sales teams to really kind of live isolated from the rest of the organization. And over the last 8 years of doing this work, more often than not, then that's the reality of most organizations, is that the salespeople are kind of salespeople doing their own thing, and really disjointed from the rest of the organization. And I think that's really a dangerous territory to find yourself in. And so as you evaluate and audit kind of your sales team and sales environment within your organization, that's certainly a critical thing to evaluate. So that's a lot to consider, but if this kind of thing interests you and you really want to look into that for your own organization, I'd encourage you to check out the blog post. It goes into a little bit more detail. And as always, if there's something I can do to help you individually within your business, please let us know.